Hey everyone, today's discussion is going to be about setting up new software platforms, talking a little bit about how to engage as a medical affairs professional or as a sales rep to understand how to really meet your clients' needs. So, if you are in medical affairs, if you are in sales, if you are in promotion, if you are engaging as a field professional, you're probably going to care about today's discussion in the life sciences. Our guest today, he's been a generous visitor. He's been here at least twice before, I think maybe three times. Our guest is the VP of Digital Innovation at United Therapeutics Corporation. It's a biotech company. It's focused on ending lung disease by manufacturing organs. And he's being actually kind of modest because there's more than lungs that United is actually involved in. And I'm really excited about that because we actually landed up speaking about it the last time. And it's been really, really exciting. Our guest has two ways of reaching him. You can actually find him on LinkedIn at the little note that if you look via YouTube, you'll find the note on there. You can also reach him via email, Shola at unitedtherapeutics.com, which is unither.com. And our guest is before I go down that path, our guest for today is Shola Oyewole. Did I do that right, Shola?
Yes, you did.
Good. This is the DarshanTalks live stream, and I'm your host, Darshan Kulkarni. I'm an attorney. I'm a pharmacist. I advise companies with FDA-regulated products. I do have to say that neither Shola nor myself are here giving you any advice. Neither as an attorney, neither as a pharmacist, neither as a sort of leading professional. This is supposed to be simply a conversation. It is intended to reflect considerations, but not necessarily the opinions of the host, the guest, or our employers. If you like what you hear, please leave a comment, please subscribe, please share. Please feel free to ask our guests questions. You can always find me on Twitter at DarshanTalks, or just go to my website at DarshanTalks.com. You can always reach Shola, like I said, on LinkedIn. And again, I'm showing that on the screen. Or you can also reach him via email at shola@unither.com. Shola, pleasure to have you on again. How are you doing?
Thank you. It's an honor to be back. Good to see you again after such a while. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. So you are traveling, Shola.
Yes, I am.
So what has you traveling right now? I mean, COVID's back, isn't it?
Yes, COVID is back, and you travel cautiously. As it's a new way of living. I travel very, very cautiously. I'm in New York City. I'm attending the Wall Street Journal Future of Everything Festival. This is an event they run every year, and I think they skipped the last year or so because of COVID. But we'll be meeting in real life this week. I look forward to this event because I get exposed to all industries and whatever innovation, whatever development, whatever future thinking might be going on in those industries. That includes food, technology, cars, biotech, medicine, even fashion, you know.
Ah, so it sounds like a super duper fun event. Who are the people who are attending? Because it feels very much like a TED Talk more than a industry event.
It is like a TED Talk with actual product.
Ah,
In TED Talk, you talk. Here, they actually have the product where you can test them, touch them, try them, or they have an MVP or a prototype you can see. It was here that I tasted my first, 3D printed food. It was at this event that I tasted my first vegetarian hamburger, So, and it was also here where I saw, I guess, the future of cars. There was a prototype on display a few years ago. I think it was all fuel cell based or electrical based. I don't remember. But you see everything here, and it's the real thing.
so this is sort of what happens when TED Talks become reality. Is where you are. So
Correct.
that sounds super exciting. You said this is where you had your first 3D printed fruit. This is where you had your first vegetarian burger. What do you see? I mean, have you looked at the attendees this time, and what are you excited to see and hold and touch?
Well, I'm very, very interested in advances made in medicine, particularly around um, printing, 3D printing of maybe tissues, 3D printing of materials that doctors can use in surgery. I'm interested in battery technology,
Hmm.
how far we've gone in that. I mean, the longer the charge, the better, the more useful it can be,
Mhm.
not only for cars, but public transportation, and also helping provide electricity to developing parts of the world where a surgeon needs to perform surgery and can only do it if they have enough electricity. So I'm very interested in that too.
So, so you're talking about these new things coming out. One of the things I just read about, I think yesterday, was this idea of a computer that's based on algae. And I don't know if you read that. I'll find the link for it and put it out if this is something new. Obviously, we didn't discuss this up front. Did you read this? Did you read about
No,
it?
no,
Okay.
I've heard about that technology, but I haven't read the article you're talking about, I don't think.
Fair enough. I think it was like an NPR or something, but I'll try to find the article and the link. But the other thing I've read about is Elon Musk has been talking about the latest battery tech and really storage of battery of a charge for longer periods of time. I think I read something about one will be able to hold it for multiple years if necessary. Do you see that being really useful in the health tech world?
Yeah, particularly in developing, emerging, countries where electricity is a premium. Um, Also imagine, during war or some kind of economic, disturbance, where you have to set up mobile clinics. Excuse me. Where you have to set up mobile clinics and provide emergency services to patients. Um, Battery technology like this can afford doctors, surgeons, and their assistants the ability to provide service almost anywhere in the world.
So you're talking about almost for lack of a better term, this would help out in Ukraine, for example, where there are power disruptions as we speak. This would possibly help out in countries like India, countries in Africa, where power is at a premium. Obviously, not in the major cities, but as you start going into the hinterlands, that becomes more and more of a concern. Do you think this tech spreads as easily as it should into health tech and into the places that really need it, or does it go into making a better um, sort of heart, better Jarvis heart? I don't know if the Jarvis heart's going to use this or not, but a better heart that people in rich countries can use. Do you think that that technology spreads the way we probably want it to?
Well, so it depends. The requirement to run a heart electrically for a lengthy period of time is kind of different from the requirement to say power up a surgical theater.
Huh.
So, but I am convinced that whatever technology you have developed for electrical generation and saving and supply is applicable to both industries. And typically, the medical industry rides on a shirt tail of other industries. See what I mean? So we've got to be successful. The Elon Musk of the world, the energy companies of the world that are capturing and converting energy after they've been successful in being able to pack enough juice and make it portable. And after that's proven itself many times, then the medical industry begins to adopt some of those, maybe miniaturize them, maybe make them more compact. And frankly, you begin to embed anything in a patient. I don't think you're just going to rely on the battery you install. You also have to find an external way to recharge it, using induction or something of that nature. I'm not sure we're ready to put in a device in a person and hope that it runs for 3 years, without some kind of recharging. I'm not sure. I'm not at the forefront of that technology, so I can't say. But I look forward to that kind of technological advancement.
I think it's a really interesting point you raise, which is it's great to have the innovation, but you need to balance it with safety. And a lot of companies are currently struggling with the concept of that because everyone's pushing innovation. How do we get the latest and greatest into the hands of patients? Which is a great thing conceptually. But then what you see, and I don't know if you saw this as you were reading, but a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months ago, I read about this company that created bionic eyes and gave it to patients, and then the company shut down, and the patients need help with something, and there's no company to provide that help, and that's what scares a lot of people. So to your point, taking a new power source that maybe is the latest and greatest, but then putting it untested into patients may not serve patients' eventual goals, and that's what companies need to be aware of. If we have untested products go out, what you start struggling with is the issue of the like I'm blanking on the name, the company with Elizabeth Holmes.
Um, uh, Theranos?
Theranos.
Yeah.
But that's exactly my point. You land up with people with goals and innovative ideas, but the execution's lacking. So your point's well made. What do you think, as someone who is at the forefront of innovation, what do you think is the next thing to take on in the world that you see? I mean, you're talking about 3D printing and the like. I know your company has been at the forefront of that. Do you see 3D printing being the next big innovation changer, or something else?
Yes, it is a part of it. 3D printing affords us the ability to, build organs customized for the patient using their own cells, eliminating to some degree, rejection and all that. So there's a huge push by the industry in general to leverage 3D printing technology, not only for tissue, but also for the parts of the body that may need to be replaced, bone supplements, grafting, things of that nature, even skin patches. So 3D printing, yes, is I believe is the next thing. Um, but we also have to be mindful of what's happening to the planet in terms of
Hmm.
um, you know, I think we have to figure out a way to stem the steady deterioration of the planet. Are there technologies out there that can help uh, prevent, help with the recycling of all the waste we have? The plastics that take, I don't know, a million years to degenerate. I understand there's something that's being developed right now, a kind of plastic that will you know, self-destroy over time. So those are the kind of technologies we need now to save the earth. In addition to advancing whatever we're doing in medicine, we also need to advance in technologies that can save the earth so that as we feel better with good medicine, we can actually live a longer and more productive life on the earth.
So what you're referring to, and again, I've never seen this term used except by myself, but and I'm sure it has been, I just haven't seen it used. Sustainable innovation. Um, First of all, have you heard that term before? Or did I just make that up?
I have,
Okay.
but I get worried. Um, I mean, what article did I read? Was it The Economist or New York Times? Like yesterday, how everybody appends innovation to everything. And the two words that they stated that were overused were sustainable and innovation.
All you gotta do is think outside the box, and then you look for the ROI, and you'll have sustainable innovation.
Exactly. So, I guess sustainability, innovation in the business of sustainability, I guess, is what you're trying to say. And uh, it is a thing. It is something I believe industry should be very, very, and I know industry is focused on it. But I think that is where the next, one of the next big wins we need as a world, you know.
So you're talking about sustainability. You're talking about being at the forefront of the changes that are happening as we speak. Um, but 2 years ago, you actually organized an event to look into innovation within your company, and you spent the last 2 years following up and discovering what else is out there and sort of encouraging the innovators within your company itself. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Yes, about a year and a half ago, I ran an open innovation event where I welcomed ideas from every member of the company. This was an internal event. It was open to all 900 employees, and we ran it for about a month or so. Then we had a committee select the best ideas, plus we had employees vote on the best ideas. And we ended up with two winning ideas, each one a prize to develop a prototype of their idea. So, mind you, the prize wasn't for them, the prize was to fund a prototype of the idea. And it was unusual to have two winners, but they tied. So, we had two ideas. One, during the process of a year, we're able to fully develop the product. It's a product that's now, thriving as it is today, providing a lot of relief to our patients. The second idea was to develop a device, a medical device. We're still going through the R&D, we're still going through experimentation, we're still going through prototype development for that idea. As you would know, medical devices is, development is a multi-year endeavor. So I expect this is going to go on for another couple of years. I'm going to run another open innovation event this summer, and I'm going to welcome the entire company again. And we're going to run it again, similarly, where people will vote. But this time they're going to vote with dollars. It's like monopoly. I'm gonna give everybody a pot of money. And with your pot of money, you get you get to vote on the idea you like. So everybody becomes a VC. And with the pot of money allocated to them, they get to vote on all the ideas on as many ideas as they like on the portal. The idea with the most money in terms of votes, right? By the way, all this is virtual. It's
Right.
not real. That would be the winning idea that will win the prize to help develop a prototype. And as a company, we'll decide if this is something we want to pursue or not.
So it's really interesting. What you're talking about is there was a book several years ago called The Wisdom of Crowds, and they talked about exactly this, which is a person uh, may not have full information, but you take a large enough crowd, they come together and they will know bits and pieces, and they'll be able to identify things that others are missing.
Yes.
So to me, there's that version of the wisdom of crowds. It's funny. At the same time, I also remember Shakespeare, and I'm summarizing it. I think it's from Julius Caesar, but I think there's also a movie that does this as well. But it says something to the effect of a person is intelligent, crowds are stupid because they will sort of redact to the lowest common denominator. So that's where your mob mentality comes in. So how do you balance the wisdom of crowds without getting into the mob of crowds?
So I think, in a nutshell, what you're referring to, the first part of your statement is crowdsourcing.
Right,
Because remember, when you crowdsource an idea, it gets better
right,
because people are contributing their best to it. I think I think where you get the negative part of crowd of using a crowd to develop an idea is probably when you have a meeting and people are agreeing with the most vocal person in the meeting. But I think in a crowdsourcing scenario, people are contributing their best of their best. And I've seen that in the first open innovation event that I ran. The ideas were solid. The ideas were very good ideas. And we had, other employees commenting and adding, you know, to the idea. So in fact, you could submit an idea, Darshan, and some other people may like your idea so much and say, "Hey, can I join you?" So you change it from a Darshan idea to a team idea, you know,
Mhm.
and that's how we encourage um, uh, crowdsourcing ideas, you know, at this using this platform that I have. Um, but I haven't seen the latter part that you mentioned or that Shakespeare mentioned. It's not something I've experienced in the open innovation event.
Well, someone's linking and they're enjoying the conversation, so thank you, Shahir. We appreciate it. But so you haven't dealt with the issue of the mob mentalities. You've seen the wisdom so far. What are some tips that you learned the first time that you're either fixing or doing the second time? And I'll give you an example that I already heard you speak about, which was this time you're talking about that virtual pool of money, of fictional money that people can attribute that to. What was the genesis of that idea? Why are you doing that versus whatever you did the last time? And what else did you sort of learn that's going to be incorporated into version 2 of the innovation event?
I'm glad you asked. Um, the first time I ran the event, I was relying on people liking the idea. So counting the likes, right, was one of the metrics we used to select the winning idea. But remember, not very many people love social media. It looks very much like Facebook. And liking, you either like or you don't like at all. What if you like a little bit? All right. You don't want to dislike outright because there's no dislike button. They just like or nothing, silent. So I'm thinking, well, what if I gave you $100,000 and you express your like by putting, say, $50,000? You express your half like by contributing, say, $5,000 to an idea. Does that make sense? So now your like now has a spectrum. Your dislike is $0. You're not putting anything in there. You like it half and half, you put half your money. You like it a lot, you put a lot of money. So that kind of helps people, um, you know, vote, so to speak, on that continuum. It makes it more refined, I believe, instead of going with a digital like or silence.
Very interesting. So that was one. Anything else?
And also, the purpose of that was to gamify because it's very much like Monopoly and it's free money. You like this idea, boom, 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 boom. You don't like this idea, take your money back and put it towards another idea. This is how VCs work. So I'm trying to build the spirit of entrepreneurship. We are a company that, we're heavily led by entrepreneurship. There's something I like to foster within this also. And I'm also going to run the innovation event much longer to give people the opportunity to view and comment and vote with their dollars on the ideas. I'll make sure people have enough time, even after closing closing ideas and all that. Give people enough time to go back, review the ideas, and change their contributions, so to speak. Um, because the first time I ran it, some people submitted their ideas very close to the deadline. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough time to receive likes or comments, so that affected them. But in that scenario, that was why I set up a selection committee to help go through those, comb through all the ideas and select. But this time, I will not be needing a selection committee because
Hmm.
I'm going to just open up to the company and have everybody vote with their money.
So I have a series of questions that came out of that. My first question is, in the case of American Idol, they they let people. I think they only allow people to compete once. You can't come back again, and I could be wrong about that. Will you allow people to resubmit an idea that they submitted last time?
Why not?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, you can resubmit your idea. Hopefully, you'd have refined it. I mean, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
You've had time to refine it. I'll be offering design thinking workshops in case people want to, because you could submit your idea and it sits there and you could purify, refine it over time, do some design thinking work. Your idea may change from A to B by the time you're finally done. So essentially it sits there till you're ready to submit it. And I will encourage people to resubmit their old ideas after it's been refined a bit. And you can submit as many ideas as you have.
Very cool. My second question is, how do you prevent this from turning into a popularity contest? I mean, I can already imagine you have smart people working for you. If you have enough smart coders, I can totally see people trying to game the system without gamifying the system using bots.
That's a good question. If I would go by the first iteration of this event, I did not see any of that. I think the comments that I saw, the voting that I saw, the likes that I saw seemed to be authentic, I would say. It wasn't because somebody was popular or unpopular. Um,
Right,
rem this after all is a company based, on science.
right,
While we're not all scientists, and while we're not all popular, but I saw some very solid ideas. I saw the votes were spread out well.
right.
But it'll be interesting to look out for that this time around.
Fair enough. And my last question before I call it, and we've kept you on for a good half hour, so I appreciate you taking the time. But you talked about the value of having this pot of money that you can attribute to whatever, because you wanted to see a spectrum of interest, if you will. A company that did that, moved away from that towards the likes versus dislikes, was Netflix. I remember like 3, 4 years ago, you had the 5 stars and you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. And now all I can do is a yes or a no. Personally, I hate the yes or the no. But you're going the other way. What do you know that Netflix has missed?
Well, Netflix is much, much, much bigger than me. And frankly, maybe watching movies or selecting movies is kind of different from
Mm,
selecting an idea. You
okay.
know, Deshaun, you could come up with an idea. You may say, hey, I want 3D printed vegetables.
Don't
Okay.
you all?
You want to roll out of bed, your coffee maker makes coffee for you, and while it's doing that, it's printing out vegetables for you to eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
Well, okay, sounds healthy. It sounds doable. It sounds great. I have only $100,000. I like your idea. I don't want to discourage you. But there's this person that has an idea about printing 3D printed burgers for
Right.
lunch. I love meat, not vegetables.
Right.
So I kind of like your idea. So I'll give you maybe, $10,000. But the burger guy gets $80,000. Okay. It does not mean I don't like your idea. It just means I like your idea less.
Right.
In fact, I would like both ideas to win so I can print out my vegetables on top of my burgers and have both at the same time. But the burger has priority over the vegetables. So that is just a way to help people have multiple choices. In Netflix scenario, when you watch a movie, you either like it or you don't like it. I mean, is there a movie you half like? Tell me. I don't know. Other than half.
A lot of Will Smith movies right now, that's how they feel like.
Yes, okay. But people kind of liked them before,
I did.
and
I loved them
and that
before.
And that there is an example. You can go back and then change your like to dislike. You know.
I'm not sure I dislike them. I'm not. I can't dislike Fresh Prince. You just can. But gonna gonna ask the last question as usual. What's the best way for people to reach you?
You can reach me on LinkedIn. My full name SHOLA OYEWOLE, or by email shola@unico.com.
And any last parting words?
Well, thank you again for having me here. I look forward to connecting with your guests on the media that we put up there, and I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.
Thank you. It's as always. It's been an awesome pleasure having you on. Thank you again. Please have a good time at the event, and we can't wait to hear more about it.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.